Hello everyone, back again with movie and tune recap. Today, I'm going to explain an American horror slasher film from 2011, titled You're Next. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. In the opening scene, we meet two lovers, Eric and Talia, making love. After they finish, Eric gets up to take a shower while Talia heads downstairs to make herself a drink. She noticed that the sliding glass door in the living room is open, leaving her worried. She closes the door, puts on a CD, and while drinking juice, she noticed something behind her. Eric, having finished his shower, steps out into the bedroom and sees something written on the mirror. As he steps closer, he realizes the message is written in blood which reads, "You're next." When he looks down, he finds Talia lying in a pool of blood, and as Eric turns around, he is accosted by a masked man, who kills him with a machete. In the next scene, a middle-aged couple, Paul and Aubrey, are driving to their country home in rural Missouri. As they pass by their neighbor's house, Paul mentions that the neighbor, Eric, recently left his wife for a co-ed, which is Talia. Upon arriving at their country home, secluded deep in the woods, they notice the door is open but shrug it off and settle in. As they are unpacking, Aubrey hears a noise coming from upstairs and is startled by Paul. She becomes more terrified when Paul tells her he was in the basement. She thinks someone is upstairs, but Paul brushes it off, saying it's just a creaky old house. Just then, they hear another sound, and Paul sends Aubrey outside while he goes up to investigate. He enters the upstairs bedroom and is about to open a dark closet when he is startled by Crispian, his son. Paul and Crispian head downstairs, and once they leave the room, the closet door creaks open, revealing that someone was, in fact, hiding inside. Paul and Crispian meet Aubrey outside, where she is comforted by Erin, Crispian's Australian girlfriend. It is later revealed that the entire weekend is a family reunion of sorts, which includes Crispian's two brothers and his sister. Erin and Crispian are the first to arrive, with the rest set to arrive the next day. That night, while in bed, Crispian reveals to Erin that his father was in the marketing department for a huge defense contract company, and the family is wealthy. The next morning, Crispian awakens and heads downstairs, where he finds his brother, Drake, and his wife, Kelly. Drake is somewhat arrogant and condescending, mocking Crispian for being fat as a child. Erin goes into the kitchen, where Aubrey is preparing dinner, and asks if she needs help. Aubrey asks if Erin can go to the neighbor's house to borrow some milk. Erin heads over to the house, where she hears the Dwight Twilley song blaring. As she knocks on the door, the song ends and starts right up again. From inside the house, we see Eric's dead body sitting up on the sofa. Erin knocks on the door again, and when she receives no reply, she heads back to the house. Later that night, the rest of the family arrives, consisting of Felix, Crispian and Drake's other brother, and his girlfriend, Z, a moody goth chick, and Amy, the little sister, and her boyfriend, Tarek, a documentary filmmaker. As the family sits down for dinner, Paul toasts the reunion, and everyone seems to be enjoying themselves. However, the mood is suddenly broken when Drake starts mocking Tarek's films, claiming that he enjoys commercials more than actual filmmaking. Paul shifts his focus to Crispian and asks him how he and Erin met. Crispian, who is a professor, reveals that Erin was originally his TA but stopped when they began dating. Drake mutters under his breath that it was unprofessional, which Crispian hears, leading to an argument. Soon, the rest of the family joins in, and everyone starts arguing. In the middle of all this, Tarek looks out the window and sees something. He gets up from the table and approaches the window, and suddenly, an arrow bursts through the glass, striking Tarek in the forehead. No one notices at first, until they see Tarek stumble around and then drop dead on the floor. More arrows burst through the window panes, causing everyone to fall to the ground and seek cover. In the middle of the panic, Aubrey stands up, and Drake moves to push her out of the way, just as another arrow breaks through the glass, and hit Drake in the shoulder. The family makes it out of the dining room and tends to Drake's wound. Everyone checks their phones to call 911, but they discover there is no signal, and Felix mentions that whoever is attacking them might be jamming the signals. Erin grabs her phone and sends a text message to 911, revealing that she knows they have to respond to that, but she is unsure if they will get a decent signal. They decide that one of them should run outside and try to get to one of the cars, and Amy volunteers. Crispian suggests that Amy get a running start, and he and Paul will open the doors at the last second to catch the killers by surprise. They open the doors, and Amy makes it outside but is immediately cut down by a length of piano wire stretched horizontally in front of the door. The wire slices Amy's neck, and after they pull her back inside, the family watch helplessly as she bleeds to death. Aubrey breaks down after watching her daughter died, and Paul comforts Aubrey before putting her in bed and leaves her in the room. Aubrey is inconsolable and continues to cry. Just then, a man dressed in black clothes and wearing a fox mask crawls out from under the bed. As Aubrey continues to wail, the fox mask pulls out a machete and kills her. The rest of the family hears Aubrey scream and rush upstairs, where they find her corpse. The words, "You're next," are scrawled on the wall in her blood. Paul breaks down and is helped back downstairs by his sons. Kelly, still inside the bedroom, notices the window is open, and she moves to close it, but hears something in the room. She peeks under the bed and sees the fox mask. Frightened, Kelly runs from the room, screaming, and runs outside. Drake goes after her but knocks the arrow sticking out of his shoulder against the piano wire, causing him extreme pain. He grabs the end of the arrow and yanks it from his shoulder, causing him to pass out before Crispian and Aaron pull him back inside the house. Crispian then tells Aaron that he is going outside to look for help and promise that he will return. Kelly rushes through the woods and comes upon Eric's house. She sees Eric sitting on the couch and screams to be let inside, slamming her hands against the back windows. As she continues to pound on the glass, the reflection of a man wearing a tiger mask materializes behind her, and he throws her through the glass. Kelly, injured and bleeding, begins crawling on the floor, and the tiger mask pulls out a maul and slams it into Kelly's head. He then pulls the maul from Kelly's head and sits down on the couch next to Eric's corpse, staring at Kelly's dead body. Back at the house, Aaron heads to the kitchen to gather weapons and grabs a kitchen knife. As she passes by a window, a hand suddenly bursts through the glass, and a man wearing a lamb mask grabs her by the hair. Aaron struggles to break free, and manages to stab the lamb mask in the hand, pinning it to the wall. The lamb mask screams in pain as Aaron quickly moves to find another weapon. She grabs a meat pounder, but when she turns back to the window, the lamb mask is gone. Aaron returns to the living room, where she rejoins Felix and Z, and is about to distribute weapons when another window shatters, causing her tumbling to the ground, and the dropped weapons scatter across the floor. As she looks up, she sees the tiger mask has used Kelly's corpse to enter the home, and he is holding an axe. The tiger mask attempts to strike Aaron, but she dodges just in time and retaliates with a kick to the crotch. Seizing the opportunity, Aaron grabs the meat pounder and strikes the tiger mask's knee, causing him to fall. She then hit him repeatedly, bludgeoning him to death. Felix and Z watch in horror as the tiger mask lies lifeless, surrounded by blood. Aaron reveals the killer's face, asking if they recognize him, but both Felix and Z says no. Aaron suspects there are at least 2 more assailants, with one likely still in the house, and Paul, seeking revenge for his wife's death, grabs a knife and heads upstairs. When Aaron realizes Paul is gone, Felix and Z offer to go get him. Just then, the lights went out, and Aaron decides to head to the basement, where Felix mentions additional weapons are stored. Upstairs, Paul searches for the remaining assailant, unaware that the fox mask is stalking him. Paul investigates the closet from earlier and discovers a sleeping bag, bottled water, and a urine-filled bottle, indicating that someone had been hiding there for days. Suddenly, he's startled by Felix and Z, who tries to convince him to return downstairs, and Paul realizes that they're being targeted, and this attack is not a random act of violence. Just then, the fox mask steps out of the corner and slashes Paul's throat with a machete. Paul suffers a slow and agonizing death, while Felix and Z watch without emotion. After Paul's demise, the fox mask approach Felix and Z, and Felix calmly asks why he did it in front of them. It is then revealed that the assailants are working for Felix, who is after the inheritance, which worth millions. Downstairs, the lamb mask enters the house and discovers the tiger mask's lifeless body. He goes into a rage, turning the dining room table and screaming at the top of his lungs, and Erin, hearing his cries, grabs a screwdriver and readies herself. The lamb mask spots Erin's hiding spot and advances towards her, but Drake awakens just in time and distracts the assailant. As the lamb mask approached Drake with a machete, Erin dashes out from her hiding place and stabs the lamb mask in the back. He screams in agony before fleeing out the front door. Drake inquires about Kelly's whereabouts, but not wanting to reveal the truth, Erin says she doesn't know where she is. Felix and Z re-enter the room, and both say that they found nothing upstairs. Erin then instructs Drake and Felix to go to the basement to search for additional weapons, while she and Z prepare booby traps. Erin and Z construct makeshift traps by hammering nails into boards and placing them under the exposed windows, so that anyone stepping inside will step on the nails. Z asks where Erin learned all her tactics, and Erin reveals that she had a strange childhood, explaining that her father went crazy when she was a child. This led to their entire family moving to the outback, where Erin was raised in a survivalist compound. As she shares this story, Z picks up one of the boards and is about to drive the nails into Erin, but stops when Erin turns around. In the basement, Felix reveals to Drake that Kelly is actually dead, causing Drake to break down. He started yelling at his brother, but Felix stabs Drake in the chest with 5 screwdrivers, yelling for him to die. Meanwhile, Erin inquires about Paul's whereabouts, and Z assures her that he's upstairs and unharmed. Erin heads upstairs to find Paul, while Z goes to the basement to meet up with Felix. However, upon reaching the top floor, Erin discovers Paul's lifeless body and is suddenly cornered by the fox mask. With no escape route, she leaps from the second-story window, landing hard on the ground below, where a shard of glass impales her left leg. The fox mask gazes down at her from the window, and Erin limps away into the woods. Felix and Z meet up with the fox mask and explain that everything is going wrong. Felix orders the fox mask to pursue and kill Erin, but the assailant replies that he's faster and stronger than her and doesn't seem to be in a hurry to finish the job. Felix reminds him of the substantial payment he's receiving, and the fox mask exits the room. Erin leans against a tree, retrieves a mini flashlight, and carefully removes the glass shard from her leg. Suddenly, she hears a noise and turns to face the lamb mask, who's aiming a crossbow at her. He fires, but she dodges and makes a desperate dash towards the house. The lamb mask crawls through the open window, avoiding the nailed boards, but fails to spot another board near the windowsill and steps on a nail. The assailant screams in agony as Felix, Z, and the fox mask enter the living room. The lamb mask managed to pull out the nail from his foot, but Felix complains about the bloodstain on the carpet, worrying about the DNA evidence. Enraged, the lamb mask grabs Felix and shoves him against the wall, furiously shouting about Erin killing his brother, the tiger mask. When the lamb mask threatens Felix again, Felix, though frightened, revealed that no one will receive the inheritance if he dies, as he is the sole beneficiary of his family's estate. He offers to pay the assailant extra once the inheritance is settled, and Erin, hiding behind the curtain, overhears the conversation. Suddenly, her cell phone beeps, which gets everyone's attention, and she fumbles to silence it, revealing that her earlier text message to 911 has gone through, and the cops are on their way. After Felix agrees to pay the remaining assailants extra, the fox mask grabs the machete and approaches the curtains to kill Erin. Erin, unarmed, raises her fists, and when the fox mask pulls back the curtains, she delivers a swift punch to his throat. Erin escapes out of the house and doubles back through another open window. Felix, Z, and the fox mask rush out to catch her, with the lamb mask, wounded and dragging his foot, following close behind. The trio splits up to search for Erin, with Felix taking the crossbow from the fox mask. Meanwhile, the lamb mask notices the open window, and slowly approach it with an axe. As he peers inside, Erin strikes, stabbing him in the head with a screwdriver, leading to his demise, and she then takes possession of the mall. While inside the house, Erin sets up a booby trap by positioning the mall above the door, so that once the front door is opened, the axe will come swinging down and kill whoever walks through. As she finishes setting up the trap, she sees the fox mask heading back inside the house. She anticipates him opening the front door but is surprised when he enters through one of the exposed windows. Erin makes her way down to the basement, where she smashes all the lights with a log. She sets up her digital camera to take numerous pictures automatically, each time with a flash, and the fox mask enters the darkened basement, lit only by the flashes of the camera. As he approached the camera, Erin uses the log to smash the fox mask over the head. She then beats him to death with the log and exits the basement. She heads back into the living room and slowly picks up a discarded knife, not seeing that Felix is outside the house with the crossbow. She senses something, just as the arrow bursts through the glass, and she falls over, seemingly hit. Felix and Z peer through the open window but can't find Erin. Felix hands the crossbow to Z before heading to his car to retrieve a pocket knife, and Z enters the kitchen, where she engages in a fierce battle with Erin. Felix joins the fight, stabbing Erin in the shoulder with the knife, and Erin retaliates by smashing a blender over Felix's head. She then places the exposed blades on top of his head, and plugs the blender into the wall socket, which tragically leads to his death. Z watch in horror as Erin pulls the knife from her shoulder and stab her through the head and kill her as well. As Erin, exhausted and bleeding, sits next to the corpses of Felix and Z, she hears Felix's cell phone ring. She grabs the phone and accepts the call, but doesn't say anything, and hears Crispian on the other end, asking Felix if it's over. Crispian enters the house, continuing to talk to whom he believes is Felix, until he turns around and finds Erin holding the cell phone in one hand and a knife in the other. Crispian asks about Felix and Z, and Erin reveals that she killed them both. Crispian tries to explain that he was in on it, because he was broke, and offers to pay off Erin's student loans, quit her bartending job, take a vacation, and so on. He tries to explain that she was never meant to be harmed, but things got out of control. He slowly approaches her, trying to convince her that she can either be rich or he'll go to jail. Just then, Erin stabs him in the neck behind the ear, causing him to bleed severely, before finishing him off by stabbing him in the eye, and Crispian falls to the ground, dead. Just then, Erin is shot in the shoulder by a young police officer and she falls to the ground. Believing Erin might be responsible for the carnage, the officer returns to his patrol car and radios dispatch to request backup and an ambulance. He then approaches the front door and tries to enter the house. Erin, with very little strength, screams for the cop not to enter through that way, but it's too late. The booby-trapped maul swings down, striking the policeman in the face, as the movie concludes. Okay guys, that's all the recap about Your Next from 2011. Thanks for watching, see you again in the next video.